Okay, today we are going to go ahead and review ratios. So please make sure you have your handouts available and that you have a piece of paper to take notes upon. So here we go, 6-1 on ratios. So just in general, remember a ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. So let's go ahead and get that definition down. Okay, so it's a comparison of two quantities by division. From the past, you know that there are a few different ways to represent ratios. We can, for example, if we're working with boys and girls, and I have boys and girls in a classroom, and I have 7 boys to 9 girls. I can write this ratio as 7-9, or I could use a colon, or I can write it as a fraction. Okay, so we will primarily be using the fraction. Make sure that your fractions are always in simplest form. That being said, we have to make sure that we leave them improper if necessary, and I'll explain what I mean by that in just a moment. So let's take a look at how to write ratios in simplest form. So let's say you are playing basketball and you make 12 baskets in 18 attempts. So let's go ahead and set that up as a fraction. 12 baskets in 18 attempts. And I can definitely simplify these numbers. 12 over 18. I know that I can divide by 6 because that is their greatest common factor. And we go ahead and get 2 to 3. Please note that in your final ratio, you do not need to have labels. We still need to understand what these numbers represent, so you may be asked to explain what they mean. And in this case, we know that we have a ratio of 2 to 3, and that means that for every 3 shots attempted, 2 were made. Okay, or you can say that you made 2 baskets in 3 attempts. Okay. But you don't have to put the labels in the ratio itself because it can become a little bit cumbersome. Okay, so you still need to know what it means, but there we went ahead and simplified, and we do have a ratio of 2 to 3, 2 baskets in every 3 attempts. That's not so bad. So let's take a look at something else. Let's say we have another example where we have a dance, a mixer, and we're inviting a lot of different schools. And let's say we have about, I don't know, 100 girls to 75 boys. And I'd like to express that as a ratio in simplest form. So again, 100 girls to 75 boys. We set it up just like this. We can go ahead and divide by 25. And you'll see that we get 4 to 3. Okay, so there are 4 girls for every 3 boys. Definitely in the boys' favor in that case. In this example, we are going to go ahead and leave this ratio improper. Why do we have to do that? I know I always say simplify, simplify, and if we were going to go ahead and change 4/3, we would write it as 1 1/3. So why are we not going to do that in this case? Well, these numbers represent quantities. I can't change it to 1 1/3 because what does that mean? Do I have 1 girl and 1/3 of a boy? Do I have, 1 adult, 1 girl, and 3 boys? It stops making sense. So this does not make sense anymore. That's why you need to just compare one quantity to another, even if the fraction looks improper. Okay, you just need to leave it in that regard. Something else I just want to mention, measurement. Measurement is pretty big, and we have to do a little bit of conversion when working with measurement sometimes before simplifying a ratio. Whenever you have measurement, for example, if you're working with feet or inches, pints, quarts, ounces, or pounds, you need to make sure that you're always comparing the same units. So basically, you need to compare apples to apples. In the back of your textbook, you have a page that has a ton of measurements listed on it. And I'm going to list some here so that you have them in your notes, but please know that they are in the back of your textbook. So here are some rates in your book that you might find useful. If we're talking length, we might be working with, feet to inches. This one you should already know. Same thing with yards. Just know that 1 yard is 3 feet, and if I was to change that into inches, it would be 36 inches. Also, 1 mile. We've talked about this before. Remember, 1 mile is equal to 5 tomato feet, 5280 feet. So 5 tomato. And if we divided that by 3, we get 1,760 yards. Okay, so that's length. Let me label that here. We could also talk like volume and capacity. And maybe 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. You might be working with those. Fluid ounces is written like this in shorthand. Okay, OZ is ounces. 1 pint is 2 cups. You can use C for cups and PT for pint. 1 quart, you can write QT, switch it up a little bit. 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So those are good to know. And also, let's just go ahead and talk about weight and mass. If you don't have enough space here, you can just move down. But for weight, basically we want to know that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. So 1 lb equals 16 oz. And 1 ton, that's a capital T, a whole ton, is 2,000 pounds. So again, you might need this for your homework. Feel free to use the back of the textbook, but here they are in your notes. So we're talking measurement, and we need to make sure that when working with ratios, we are comparing apples to apples. Let's just make a note of, again, what that means in particular. Okay, so both quantities that you're working with need to have the same units. And this is not something you're going to be told. You have to be able to recognize it. So if you see that you have cups, pints, quarts, inches, feet, yards, pounds, ounces, you need to go, I'm talking measurement here. I need to make sure that both quantities are in the same unit before I simplify. So that's why we'll need to put some stars around this, and you should pay attention to this when working through these types of examples. So let's go ahead and work through an example together. Let's say you have 8 ounces to 3 pounds. 8 ounces to 3 pounds. And I want to represent that ratio as a fraction in simplest form. So here you might want to start off with the units so that you don't get confused as to what it is you have and what it is you're trying to get to. And always keep it simple. Here we can convert ounces into pounds, or we can go pounds into ounces. But let's see what makes sense to do. So in this case, we want to go ahead and look up at our list, and right here, ounces and pounds, we know 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. So we could go ahead and take our pounds and multiply it by 16, 3 times 16. That will give us, let's see, 3 times 10 is 30, 3 times 6 is 18, so that's 48, okay, ounces. And we will keep the 8 ounces on top. And we can simplify that now to 1/6. Okay, so 1 ounce to 6 ounces. And you can see that if we hadn't converted first, we would have had the ratio 8 to 3. So it would, in fact, be different. You want to make sure that you are converting so that you have the same units. Okay, apples to apples. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other examples. So what I'd like you to do now is to get out your handout. That's page 8 and page 9. And on page 8, I would like you to go ahead and work through, let's see, numbers Let's see, we'll do 6, 18, and 21. Hit pause and then hit play when you're ready to see the solutions. Okay, assuming you are ready to see these solutions, let's take a look at number 6. We have 49 apples out of 63 fruit. 49 to 63. Here we actually have apples, but we can't convert all fruit into apples. So we're not dealing with measurement. We're just going to leave 49 60 thirds as is and then simplify to 7/9. In number 18, we have 35 pints to 7 gallons. So again, if we just scroll back up, pints and gallons, okay. Here we have pints and gallons. You see this one's a little bit trickier. We need to use both in order to convert. So if we know 1 gallon is 4 quarts, we can use that first, and then we can work with the fact that 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. So let's go ahead and convert 7 gallons into 4 quarts. 7 times 4 would give me 28. So now 35 pints over 28. Let's see. Quarts. And again, we have to convert, so I've already used this one. And now I know 1 quart is equal to 2 pints, so I can take my quarts and divide by 2. I would like to get them into pints. And then I have 35 pints to 14 pints. And oops, I made a mistake here, so I just want to correct that really quickly. 1 quart is 2 pints. I divided by 2. That is incorrect. Let me just calculate that there. It's 28 times 2 because each quart is 2 pints. So you take 28, you multiply by 2, you do get 56. So please correct that. And then we go ahead and simplify this, and you will get 5/8. Here we go. So this is your solution to 18. For 21, let's move on to that one. Your final ratio should be 7 to 12. Okay, we are going to do more of this in class. Please bring your notes with you and I will check them and your textbook as well. Okay, thank you. Bye.